Alaska is the home of crude oil reserves that experts say could provide a large percentage of America's energy for decades. Up here, most Alaskans agree that the only way to reduce our dependence on foreign energy is to boost Alaskan oil production.
When the pipeline started out in the 1970s, we moved about 700,000 barrels a day in the first year, and it quickly ramped up to 2.1 million barrels a day. Today, we're moving about 600,000 barrels a day, which is lower than any amount we've ever seen before.
Michelle Egan works for the company that manages the Alaskan pipeline and says it has the potential to move a lot more oil than it does right now.
Today, the Trans-Alaska Pipeline delivers about 11% of the nation's domestic crude supply. At one time, that was about 25%. It could easily be 15-20%.
Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, is North America's largest oil field and the beginning of the Trans-Alaskan Pipeline. Output here has been dropping for years, however, and if you talk to the oil workers, they'll say it's because of permits.
When some permits are, you're compliant with some permits, you're out of compliance with other permitting agencies. The contradictory permitting between state and federal agencies seems to be a problem.
Nothing can happen up here without dozens, if not hundreds, of permits, and the bureaucracies overseeing the process make the IRS look streamlined. Far-reaching environmental regulations and taxes put on oil companies mean new exploration has ground to a standstill.
The last couple of years, our business has really dropped down due to what has been happening up here. The equipment's parked in the yard. We can't, a lot of it hasn't been rented because of that reason. No new wells are being drilled. Nobody's doing any production up here. Everything's just completely went on standstill. They're all losing their job. You can tell the population from last year to this year. I mean, it's went down a tremendous amount of people.
Oil companies are reluctant to comment because any criticism of the process could make business even more difficult. But Rebecca Logan of the Alaskan Support Industry Alliance was happy to explain further.
There are a lot of challenges that are facing Alaska oil production today. For the largest challenges are the permitting challenges that come from the federal government and from the state government. Our most pressing need is to fill our pipeline. But we have a lot of barriers that have been put up by the federal government and barriers that have been put up by the state government.
None of the large federally controlled projects are moving forward at this time. So what is the holdup?
And we have this rogue agency, the EPA here, that they do what they want to do. And they are out of control, and they are an agency that is full of people who are not elected officials, who have all kinds of authority, and who have stopped progress on resource development here by denying permits or rescinding permits that they've given. EPA has blocked the companies that are trying to start these resource development projects every step of the way.
If these issues aren't solved soon, the results could be drastic.
Well, the pipeline was designed to be a warm oil pipeline, so it was designed to move warm crude oil. But as the crude oil drops in the pipe, it gets colder as it moves from Prudhoe Bay to Valdez, 800 miles. So with that cold comes problems with water dropout, ice buildup, wax. There are technical challenges to running the pipeline at low throughputs, but it's probably the economic challenges that could come first, and it won't be feasible to run the pipeline at a certain point.
Here at pipeline headquarters in Anchorage, engineers are working to try and keep the oil flowing at lower and lower levels, because if it ever stops, the consequences for Alaska and America will be grim. If the pipeline's forced to shut down, the law says it must be removed and the land restored to its pristine state. If that happens, America will have lost its most reliable means of acquiring domestic crude.
Well, Alaska is absolutely the answer to our domestic energy needs. Our most pressing need as a nation is to reduce our dependence on foreign oil, and the best way to do that is to fill the Alaska pipeline.
Chuck Holton, CBN News, Prudhoe Bay, Alaska.